Have you ever had family members texting you, "Can you add this movie? Can you get this TV show? Did you download that documentary yet?" And before long, you're searching through text messages trying to remember what everyone wanted. That's exactly the problem Seerr solves. Seerr gives your users a Netflix-style interface where they can search for movies and TV shows, submit requests, and automatically send those requests directly into Radarr or Sonarr. Today, I'll show you how to install Seerr on Unraid, connect it to Jellyfin or Plex, hook it up to Sonarr and Radarr, configure users and permissions, and then we'll test a real request from start to finish. And if you're currently running Overseerr or Jellyseerr, I'll also show you how to migrate your existing data over to Seerr. Let's get started. Let's head over to the Apps tab and we'll search for Seerr. That's Seerr. I'm going to go with the official container. So find it in the list, click install. If you get an alert window popping up here, it's basically telling you that something's already using the port. I've got Overseerr currently running. If you've already got it running, head over to your Docker tab, find it in my list, and I'll stop the container. At this point, we're going to leave it where it's at. We don't want to remove it. Later on in the video, I'll actually show you how to migrate the data over. But for new user, you won't have this issue. So let's head back to the install. Let's go back to the Apps tab. Once again, search for Seerr, find the official container, click install. Choose what branch you want. I'm going to go the default branch. For most users, the default settings are perfectly fine. The app data location, which we'll find under Show More Settings, that can remain unchanged. You can customize the web UI port if needed, but unless you have a conflict, I recommend just leaving it alone. That's pretty much it, so hit apply. The container should take only a few moments to download and start. Once it's all done, hit done. Once it's running, we're going to go back to our Docker tab. We'll find it in the list, drop down, and select Web UI. The first time Seerr launches, you'll be presented with the setup wizard, like we have here. The setup process is broken into 4 steps. Choose the server type, sign in, configure the media server, and then configure your services. First, we're going to choose our media server. Down below, you've got some options here. You can choose Jellyfin, Plex, or Emby. For this example, I'm going to use Plex, but the process is very similar regardless of which platform you use. I'll click Configure Plex, and we'll continue. Go ahead and sign in with your Plex account. Log into your Plex account and authorize Seerr to access your server. Once authentication is complete, you'll move on to configuring your media servers. Here you'll select the Plex server you'd like Seerr to connect to, along with the libraries you want it to monitor. Under server, you'll have this refresh icon over here. Go ahead and click on that. It should go out and retrieve the servers. After it's refreshed and pulled in your servers, you can select the dropdown and find your server from the list. I'm going to choose my local demo server here. That should fill in the rest of the fields for you. Scroll down a bit, and then click Save Changes. Next, down below, we get to select our libraries. If nothing shows up here, hit Sync Libraries. It should go out and pull them in. Once you find the ones that you want, go ahead and toggle them on. I'm just going to do movies and TV shows. Scroll down a bit more, and here you can run a manual library scan. I recommend running a manual scan the first time, just so it pulls in all of your media library information. And depending on the size of your media collection, this could take a while. When that scan's done, go ahead and hit Continue. The final step is going to be configuring your services. This is where you'll connect Radarr and Sonarr so that Seerr can automatically process requests. Since Sonarr is right here, we'll connect that first. Select Add Sonarr Server, give it a name. If you've got more than one Sonarr server, then just name it however you think is most fitting for your setup. I know some people run our standard Sonarr and then another one for 4K. On my demo machine here, I just have the one, so I'm just going to name it Sonarr. The host or IP address is next. Go ahead and put in the IP address for your Sonarr server and the port number associated with it. The 8989 is default. If yours is something different, then obviously you'll have to match it to your setup. Next, we've got API key. Let's jump over to Sonarr so we can grab that. Mine is 8989 and it comes up. I'm going to log in with my super secret password. To grab the API key from Sonarr, we're going to go down to Settings. Near the bottom, you'll find General. Scroll down a bit and you'll find your API key listed there. Copy that. We'll go back to Seerr and paste that in. All right, at this point, I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'll hit Test just to make sure that connects fine. You should get a message up here saying Sonarr connection was established successfully. Once you get that, scroll back up. Now we can select the series type, quality profile, root folders, all that information. Go ahead and set yours to whatever you need. This is a standard library for me. Quality profile, we'll do 720, 1080, whatever you want here. Root folder, mine is data media/TV. Anime series, you can set that up if you have anime stuff. I don't on this demo, so I'll leave it alone. Scroll down, we'll hit test one more time. Still successful. Now let's hit Add Server. If you have another Sonarr server to add, you can just go ahead and add another one right here. But let's move on to Radarr right now. Radarr is up above, I believe. Yes, it is. We'll click Add Radarr Server. And we're going to repeat the same process for the Radarr server, just with Radarr's information. So I'll name this one Radarr real quick. IP address is the same server. Port number is standard. That's good. API key, I'll go grab that. There's my API key. Copy it back to Seerr. Paste it in. Scroll down. Test. Is successful. Set the profiles real quick. Root folder. Minimum availability. I'm going to leave unreleased. One thing here is enable scan. I like to have this enabled. This just makes it so that if you already have the media, then it makes it so users can't request it. Makes sense because if you already have it, they shouldn't be requesting it. So I'm going to turn that on here. I'm going to go back and turn it on with Sonarr as well. We'll hit test, add server, go back and edit Sonarr, scroll down. I'll turn that same feature on. Enable scan, test, and we're good. Save changes. Below there, you've got some override rules. You can add specific rules for different users, different things. Once you're done with all that, at the very bottom, click Finish Setup. At this point, Seerr can now automatically send TV requests to Sonarr and movie requests to Radarr. Now let's talk about permissions. One of the nicest things about Seerr is that you don't have to give everyone access to Sonarr and Radarr. Instead, users interact with Seerr only. Or on the left, I'm going to click on Settings and then go over to Users. Here you can control exactly what people are allowed to do. You can allow requests, you can require approval before downloads begin, you can set request limits, control access to movies and TV shows separately, and decide who has administrative access. For most home servers, I recommend starting with approval required. This gives you a chance to review requests before they're sent to Sonarr or Radarr. Once you're comfortable with how everything works, you can always automate more of the process later on. At this point, Seerr is fully functional and ready to start handling requests. Now there's a lot more settings available than what we've covered here: additional notification providers, customization settings, user management controls, and quite a bit more. But rather than turning this into a complete Seerr masterclass, I wanted to focus on getting everything installed, connected, and working. Once you're comfortable with the basics, take a few minutes to explore the additional options and make it your own. One section I do briefly want to highlight, though, is notifications. Under Settings, across the top, you'll find Notifications. Seerr supports a variety of notification services, including Discord, email, Slack, Pushover, and several others. For example, let's take a quick look at Discord. By configuring a Discord webhook, Seerr can automatically notify you when requests are submitted, approved, declined, or completed. This is especially useful when you're managing requests for multiple users and want to know what's happening without constantly checking the dashboard. Personally, I'm a big fan of Discord notifications because they keep everything in one place. And speaking of Discord, if you'd like to join our growing Alien Tech 42 community, I'll leave a link to the Discord server down below. It's a great place to ask questions, share your setups, and connect with other Unraid and self-hosting users. Now let's see what this all looks like in practice and test out our first request. Back in the Discovery tab, let's search for a movie. You can either do a manual search at the top, or you can look down further. You can find popular movies, trending, different genres. Just going to grab something here. Disclosure Day, sure, no idea what it is. Click Request. We'll choose the quality profile that we want. I'm just going to leave it on the default one there and click Request. Once the request is submitted, you'll immediately see the request appear inside of Seerr. Scroll back up, and there it is. Now, if we jump back over to Radarr, we should see it there. Let's go back to Movies, and there it is. The movie's already been added. Radarr will now begin monitoring it and downloading it according to your existing setup. The same process works for TV shows through Sonarr. Users simply request content through Seerr, and your automation stacks take care of the rest. If you configure Discord notifications, you should also see a notification arrive letting you know that the request has been submitted. It's a simple feature, but one of those things that makes managing a media server much easier. Now, if you're already running Overseerr or Jellyseerr, the good news is that Seerr includes a migration path that's surprisingly straightforward. In fact, Seerr can automatically migrate your existing data on first startup, so you don't need to manually export your databases and then recreate your settings. Before I begin showing you that process, there's one important warning. Do not remove your existing Overseerr or Jellyseerr container yet. I'm going to pause here. I'm going to go pull out Seerr, delete out its app data, start fresh, and I'll show you how to do the migration. So I'll be right back. All right, that's all cleaned up. Now let's start the process of the migration. First thing I'm going to do is stop the container, make sure that it's not running. So I'm going to go back to my Docker tab. We'll find Overseerr in the list and turn it off. Mine's already off. Once it's stopped, you can open the terminal window and copy your existing app data folder to a new Seerr app data directory. So I'll click the terminal icon in the top right corner. For Overseerr users, the documentation shows that you'll type in this command, cp-a/mnt/user/appdata/overseerr space, and then where you want it to go. So it's going to be /mnt/user/appdata/Seerr. Now, if you're migrating from Jellyseerr, then you'd simply replace the Overseerr here with Jellyseerr. But before you run that command, I recommend taking a quick look inside your existing app data folder. What Seerr is looking for are files such as the settings.json, along with the DB and logs folders. On some installations, those files may already exist directly inside of your Overseerr app data folder. On other installations, they may actually be located inside of additional Overseerr subfolder. I ran into this issue myself coming from my binhex Overseerr container. For an example, you might see /mnt/user/appdata/overseerr/settings.json. Or you might see /mnt/user/appdata/binhex-overseerr/overseerr/settings.json. If your configuration files are inside of an additional folder, then you'll want to make sure that you adjust the copy process accordingly so that the settings.json file, the DB and log folders end up in the exact location that Seerr expects. The easiest way to verify this is to browse your existing Overseerr app data folder before copying anything and confirm where those files actually live. Taking 30 seconds to check this beforehand can save you a lot of troubleshooting later. So let's go do that real quick. Just going to drag the terminal window off to the side. Back in Unraid, I'm going to go to my Shares tab, find our app data folder. Over on the left side of it, I'll click on the little browse icon for it. We'll look in the list. I'm going to find mine, which is, like I said, binhex-overseerr. Click on the text. It'll browse to the folder. Here you'll see there's another Overseerr folder inside of there. Open that up, and here you'll find the settings, the DB, and the logs. So for my setup, let me drag this back over here. I'm going to go back here. Since my location is different, you'll see it up here, right above this window. User, app data, binhex-overseerr, overseerr. So that's what I'll change down below. You've got user, app data, binhex-overseerr, another slash, and then overseerr. I'll press enter to initiate the copy command and find out what I did wrong. All right, I see my mistake here. I'm going to hit the up arrow to go back to my command. After overseerr here, put a slash and a dot so that it copies all the files and stuff within the folder. Press enter. It still says it. What the hell? All right, that failed as well. Let's see here. Oh, I see it. I only have one R in Seerr. It's double R. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. Much better. Once you get your command to complete successfully, then we'll move on. So at this point, you'll need to choose between two different permission models that are mentioned in the Seerr documentation. The first option is the Seerr default. This runs the container using Seerr's native user account and follows the developer's recommended configuration. However, on Unraid, it can sometimes create issues with SMB shares, backup plugin access such as app data backup, fixed common problem warnings, and certain network integrations like Tailscale. The second option is the Unraid default. This uses the traditional nobody and users permission model, which is what many Unraid containers already use. This tends to integrate better with common Unraid tools, and it does override Overseerr's built-in rootless users and could potentially introduce some compatibility issues with future Seerr updates. All that being said, for most Unraid users, I'd probably lean towards using the Unraid default option since it aligns with how many containers on Unraid are already configured. If you choose the Unraid default method, you'll also want to update the ownership of the copied app data folder. To do that, back in our terminal, we'll type in CHOWN space capital R space 99:100, which is going to set up the user rights. Then we got to tell what we want to assign those rights to, put in a space, and then put in the location, which is /mnt/user/appdata, one more slash, and the name of the folder we just created, which is Seerr. Making sure that it's all spelled right this time. Looks good. We'll press enter, and the command completed successfully. This changes the ownership to Unraid standard nobody and users accounts, and that helps prevent permission-related issues later on. After that, we're going to install Seerr as normal, and we'll start up the container. So let's go do that. We'll close out the terminal window here, go back to apps. We'll search for Seerr. Once again, the official one, find install, hit default, gonna leave everything alone, and hit apply. Once the container starts up, I'm gonna open the logs and look for messages indicating that the migration is completed. That is done. So go back to the Docker tab. We'll find Seerr in the list. There it is, drop down. We'll look at the logs and you'll see the migration has started and looks like everything is good. Server's ready on port 5055. Awesome. Close out of there. Everything looks good. Let's go open that container up now. We'll find Seerr in the list, drop down, go to Web UI, and it immediately wants us to log in. It's no longer presenting us with the initial getting started page. My previous one, I signed in with Plex, so I'm gonna do that again here. Make sure it's the correct account. It is, hit sign in, and we go right in. Everything's already there. All the Sonarr servers, the Radarr servers, all that stuff's already configured and set up, and everything's working. It'll show all the recent requests, the watch lists, the added media. If we look under settings real quick, just find our Plex server listed there with the libraries. Under services, we'll find the Radarr and Sonarr accounts have also been imported successfully. So now that we've verified that everything is there and working, then at this point, we can go back and remove the old Overseerr or Jellyseerr containers. It's pretty simple. Head back to the Docker tab. We'll find it in the list. Click on the icon, drop down, and I'll click remove. I'm going to also remove the image and then delete it out. So to summarize, you're going to stop the old container. You'll copy over the app data folder after verifying that the settings JSON and the DB and log folders, where those are located. You'll update the permissions if you're using the Unraid default method, and you'll start up Seerr. Verify the migration was successful, and then finally, you remove the old application. It's a surprisingly painless procedure and should only take you a few minutes. And that's really all there is to it. So now you have a centralized request system that allows family and friends to request movies and TV shows without ever touching Sonarr or Radarr. Everything stays organized, automated, and easy to manage. In the next video, I'm going to take things one step further by installing our dashboard. That'll give us a single interface for monitoring Sonarr, Radarr, Prowler, Seerr, and the rest of the R stack from one location. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more Unraid, self-hosting, and home lab content. And if you'd like early access to videos, behind-the-scenes updates, and access to our growing community, check out the Patreon link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.